The Elizabethan era in England was a period of intellectual and cultural flourishing. Elizabeth had a court advisor known as John Dee, who was renowned as a philosopher, scientist, and magician. John Dee was a mathematician and alchemist, among other professions, and was considered the foremost scholar of his time. One day, he unveiled a shocking book, claiming that he had understood and recorded the conversations of angels, whom he believed to be messengers of God. "I have prayed to God since I was young, seeking wholesome wisdom and understanding of the truth in nature and artificiality. However, despite all my efforts, it seemed there was no other way to attain such wisdom." The more Dee delved into various disciplines, the farther he felt he was from what he truly desired. He believed that approaching the truth was the ultimate goal of scholarship, but he realized that with the level of knowledge available to humans, obtaining truth was impossible. Eventually, he turned his attention to alchemy, a field that he had learned through his studies of science and mathematics but could not fully explain. In 1582, by a chance encounter, John Dee met a man named Edward Kelly, an occultist and fortune-teller of the English Renaissance era, who delved into disciplines like alchemy, which were somewhat distant from science. Kelly shared a remarkable story with Dee, that he could communicate with angels and spirits. He claimed that through his magical instrument, the crystal gazer, he could see and communicate with angelic spirits. This revelation led Dee to explore a different kind of alchemy than what he had studied before, and the two of them embarked on a research journey together. For 7 years, from 1582 to 1589, they conducted research on angels and documented their findings. Dee believed that they had received a revelation from a magical system with the potential to possess all the knowledge a scientist could desire. Their interactions and dialogues with angels were referred to as the angelic conferences. And they conducted these conferences for 7 years and recorded all the proceedings. According to their records, on March 26, 1583, while conducting one of their usual angelic conferences, Dee and Kelly received a vision about 21 letters of the alphabet. A few days later, they received the first actual characters known as the angelic language. During this process, Dee and Kelly were instructed by the angels to fill a giant table of 49 by 49 squares with angelic words. Based on this instruction, Dee and Kelly began their study of the angelic language, which was revealed to be the primal language used by Adam before his fall and is now known as Enochian. During their 7-year research, Dee and Kelly also published a book called Mysteriorum Libri Quinque, or 5 Books of Mysteries, specifically introducing the Enochian tables consisting of 49 keys that were described as opening the doors of understanding and being the keys of nature. The book was divided into 5 volumes. Volume 1 discussed Enochian magic. Volume 2 explored the mysterious 7 kingdoms. Volume 3 contained the keys of the 48 angels. Volume 4 covered earthly knowledge, origins, and victory. And Volume 5 focused on the angels of the 4 quarters. Dee believed that this work could serve as the fundamental dictionary for communicating with angels and also garnered significant interest from the public and scholars who believed they could converse with the divine. However, contrary to expectations, apart from Dee and Kelly, no one else was able to interpret or read the Enochian language. Because its dissimilarity to any known language made it impossible to determine how to read or write it. Amidst this process, people's interest gradually turned into suspicion. Although Queen Elizabeth I staunchly supported the Enochian research after John's death, thereby avoiding overt criticism, resistance grew stronger, and scholars began to question Edward Kelly's activities. This was due to the fact that there was almost no record of Kelly's whereabouts before meeting John Dee, which remained unclear. However, after the death of Queen Elizabeth and the ascension of James I to the throne, all support given to Dee was abruptly halted. James I held a negative view of astrology, and as a result, the speculations and mysteries surrounding the language of angels vanished into history. Only a few manuscripts that are inferred to contain the content he wrote can be found. Efforts to interpret the meaning of Enochian continued for centuries after his death, spanning the medieval, modern, and contemporary eras. In 1978, Australian linguist Donald Laycock publicly shared some of his analyzed research findings. He mentioned that apart from a few isolated words, there is no definite English translation for the language, and even suggested that the sound patterns resemble natural language, raising doubts about whether it could be considered a valid language. However, he also discovered that Enochian has a general linguistic structure similar to common languages and emphasized the need for further investigation into the Enochian script. To this day, numerous scholars continue their research on the Enochian script. However, due to the lack of original texts and the scarcity of available materials, significant progress has yet to be achieved. Ultimately, Enochian remains an undeciphered language. What is the truth behind John D. and Edward Kelly's claim of the Enochian language, the language of angels? Did they truly discover a way to communicate with angelic beings or entities in the heavens?